Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to officially call this meeting of the Mayor and Council to order. We did have a closed session prior to this, and the open session will start now. At this time, I would ask everyone to please rise for a moment of reflection and/or silent prayer as we think about the Mullins family in New Milford. Mary Mullins had a tragic accident a couple days ago and passed away. She was a member of our senior advisory board, and she was the chair of the Friends of the Library. Also, our engineer is with us, Kevin Boyer. We want to think about his father, who just recently had open heart surgery. Please salute the flag. Pledge allegiance
to the flag
Flag
of
of the United States of America,
and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible,
with
liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and attend any meetings of public bodies at which any business affecting their interest is discussed or acted upon. In accordance with this act, the Mayor and Council of the Borough of New Milford have caused notice of this meeting to be published by having the date, time, and place thereof posted in the Borough Hall, and notices have been sent to the record in the Ridgewood News. The mission of this governing body is to provide essential services through the establishment and implementation of public policy that will safeguard the infrastructure, provide fair, honest, courteous, and professional services, establish a sense of trust and accomplishment between all residents, and through research and prudent planning, seek to minimize risk while improving our services. We are sensitive to the needs and satisfaction of our taxpayers, while realizing that this governing body cannot be all things to all people within the revenue constraints imposed by state mandates, economic conditions, and prevailing attitudes about taxation. Being that this meeting is being held virtually, I need to read the following. All participants are muted during the meeting. Anyone wishing to make comments or ask questions can do so at such time the meeting is open to the public for comment and during public hearings on any ordinances by hitting the button to raise your hand or by typing a message in the chat box. You will need to state your name and address for the record. Members of the public may also submit written comments for any future remote meeting by either email to cdemiris@newmilfordborough.com or a written letter to the borough clerk. Written comments must be received by 4 p.m. on the day of the remote meeting in order to be read into the record during the meeting. Members of the public commenting during a remote meeting shall not act in any manner to disrupt the meeting. If anyone becomes disruptive during the meeting, they will be muted. If time permits, the disruptive individual shall be allowed to speak after all other members of the public are provided an opportunity to comment. Any continued disruption may result in the member being prevented from speaking during the remainder of the meeting. Disruptive conduct includes, but is not limited to, shouting, interruption, and the use of profanity. I would now ask the clerk to please call the roll.
Councilman Siraki Hurley.
Present.
Councilman Seymour.
Present.
Councilwoman Duffy.
Here.
Councilman Grotzky.
Here.
Councilwoman Samuelson.
Here.
Council President Grant.
Here.
Mayor Petrino.
Here. And let the record reflect that our engineer, Kevin Boyer from Colliers, is here as well. Under unfinished business, may I get a motion for the approval of the minutes from the October 13th, 2021 work session meeting?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. We have an ordinance to adopt. It would be 2021:19. And when the clerk has the opportunity, I would ask her to please read the ordinance.
Capital ordinance to appropriate the sum of $55,175 for the improvement of Pacific Street from Reichelt Road to Fowler Drive in, by, and for the Borough of New Milford in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, and providing that such sum so appropriated shall be raised from a federal grant.
And the ordinance will allocate $55,175 in our community development grant funds for the resurfacing of Pacific Street from Reichelt to Fowler Drive. May I get a motion to open to the public for a public hearing on this ordinance?
Motion. Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Ladies and gentlemen of the public, if anyone has any questions about ordinance 2021:19, we invite you to give us your name and your address, and the floor is yours.
No member of the public has indicated that they wish to speak on this.
Okay,
Motion
with
to
that, may I
close
get
to
a
the
motion to close
public.
to the public?
Motion to close. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? May I get a motion to adopt this ordinance on its final reading?
Motion.
Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Siraki Hurley,
Yes.
Councilman Seymour,
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy,
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sandhusen,
Yes.
Council President Grant.
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, moving on. New business. Introduction of ordinance 2021:20. And when the clerk gets the opportunity, I would ask her to please read the ordinance.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 30 of the Revised General Ordinances of the Borough of New Milford entitled Land Use, thereby amending Article 4 entitled Zoning to add Section 30-28.19 Electric Vehicle Supply Service Equipment and make-ready parking spaces.
Okay, this ordinance designates the EVSE, makes ready parking spaces as permitted accessories, use in all zoning and districts, and establishes associated installation and parking requirements. This is being referred to the planning board for review. And at this time, I would ask for a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading.
Motion to introduce.
Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Siraki Hurley,
Yes.
Councilman Seymour,
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy,
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sandhusen,
Yes.
Council President Grant.
Yes.
Okay. The public hearing on this ordinance will be at our November 29th meeting. Okay, we have one more introduction, 2021:21. When the clerk has the opportunity.
An ordinance to amend Chapter 7 of the Revised General Ordinances of the Borough of New Milford entitled Traffic, thereby amending subsection 7-3.3 entitled Parking Prohibited at All Times on Certain Streets.
Okay, so we've had a number of residents contact us about these locations. Our traffic officers went and did a study, and they came up with the following solutions. And what's going to happen is River Road, east side. There'll be no parking from a point of 110 feet from the southerly curb line to Grand Street. River Road east from 50 feet from the northerly curb line of Grand Street. River Road east from a point of 90 feet from the southerly curb of Center Street. And River Road west from a point of 90 feet from the northerly curb of Grand Street. This is designed to keep the sight line open at the intersections, because if anyone who's been there and looked at it, you can see there's actually a dip in the street. So you lose the sight line of a car and then it pops up. And because of cars parked and other things, it was impeding the sight line. So they believe this is a solution that's going to help that and avoid any future accidents. So may I get a motion to introduce this ordinance on its first reading?
Motion.
Second.
May I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Siraki Hurley,
Yes.
Councilman Seymour,
Yes.
Councilwoman Duffy,
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sandhusen,
Yes.
Council President Grant.
Yes.
Okay. The public hearing on this ordinance will be at our November 8th meeting. And I just want to thank the residents who continue to let us know when they see something that's a problem. Thank you.
Mayor, I have a question. The previous ordinance that we introduced, you said the public hearing would be on the 29th, and this one is on the 22nd.
That is what I said.
Okay.
No. The
Does that have to
public,
do with the planning board review?
the public hearing for the prior ordinance is the 29th, and it's because of the planning board review. The public hearing for this ordinance is November 8th. Or it's our next meeting, because we don't have to wait for their review.
Okay, item number 1 is Emergency Watershed Protection Program. Administrator.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I had circulated information that was provided to us by our engineer, Collier's Engineering, and our representative, Kevin Boyer, is here tonight to talk a little bit about this program. It's the program can fund up to 75% of a variety of projects related to the protection of life and property related to water bodies and streams. A letter of intent is due November 1st. And I think Kevin's going to speak to what would be eligible for this type of grant, and we can discuss whether or not we're interested in submitting a letter of intent.
Hi, good evening, everyone. So for the grant, it's anything watershed related that has any damage done from an emergency. Doesn't have to be declared an emergency, but it's things like Ida, the damage on the French Brook, the Hershire Brook, the tributaries there too would be qualifiers, as long as we show that there's some damage done either to the stream bank, the stabilization, or there's any possible damage done to any structures nearby or property that's going to cause any future damage or future loss of property or loss of structures. So that's something we can demonstrate for several locations. I know when I walked to French Brook, there is properties uphill from there adjacent to it, which would further suffer impacts if the stream bank wasn't stabilized. So that would be a qualifying factor for this grant. The first process is you submit the letter of intent, which is due November 1st, and they'll reach out to us pretty quickly after that, within a few days or within a week, to set up an on-site meeting. And basically we'll walk all the areas that we want to apply for, and they'll determine whether or not they qualify. And then from there, we prepare cost estimates and go through the normal grant process with submitting plans and permitting.
So you're focusing on the French Brook.
The French Brook is the first one I looked at, but I noticed the difference, but it would be for any brook, anywhere in town that we want to identify.
Have you looked at the tributary of the Hirschfeld Brook that's east of Boulevard?
I haven't walked it yet, but that will be one of our focuses.
I think the Hirschfeld Brook in general, even though there has been stabilization there, the property and the whole area still suffers. What would be your criteria in deciding? I know we're coming up quickly to your, your date here.
The November 1st, we don't have to decide locations. It's just
okay.
letter of intent, and then they'll come out and meet with us, and we can go through our different locations that we want to identify. So
I
the
see.
first deadline, we don't have to identify specific locations yet at that point.
Oh, okay.
I think it would be a good idea to go forward with that. There are many areas in town qualify under those criteria that you did list.
Yeah.
Yeah, and things like desnagging, removing sediment are also qualifiers as well.
And I believe we already got an estimate for French, didn't we?
There was estimates prepared in many years ago. I think 10 or so years ago, there was estimates prepared. I believe one was for 600,000 and the other one was for 200,000. When I looked at it, you're probably in the $400,000 range to make the necessary repairs there, to basically replace the concrete lining that's already there now.
What would be the timeline for something like this? Like, when, do you have any idea when we would find out about it and when we would be obligated to, put up our 25% of anything that was approved?
No, I don't. We don't know when the grants will actually be. The first step would be applying for it, but we can push them to see if they have any dates in mind or when they would be actually awarding it.
Yeah, I think it's something we should definitely look into and pursue and prioritize. Because we do have a few places that need some work, and this work is very expensive.
Agreed.
And
I
the
agree completely.
process for getting the work done also is cumbersome with permitting and all that. It usually, the permitting side of it will probably take longer than the actual get the grant itself.
Kind of like our sidewalks.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to make a motion to authorize the letter of intent?
So moved.
Yes,
Second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Actually, can I get a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Siraki Hurley,
Yes.
Councilman Seymour,
Yes.
Councilman Duffy,
Yes.
Councilman Grotzky,
Yes.
Councilwoman Sandhusen,
Yes.
Council President Grant.
Yes.
Excellent.
I think we'll get the letter issued this week.
Great.
Thank you.
Was there anything else while we have Kevin here? Okay, if not, I'm sure he has some important things to attend to right now. So
Yeah.
thank you for
Good
joining
luck
us
with
tonight.
your
Thank you for the
dad.
update.
Kevin,
Thank you,
yeah.
everyone. Have a
Thank
good
you. I
night.
hope your father feels better.
Yes. And
Thank you
all the
very
best to your
much.
father.
Thanks,
you.
Kevin.
Take care.
Okay. Item number 2, I see our chief is here. What's up, chief?
Good evening. How you doing?
Good.
Hi, Chief.
Hi, Chief.
Hi, Chief.
So the chief is here for police department staffing, and we're going to turn it over to Councilman Grotzky to start us
Thank
off.
you, Mayor. We're losing several more officers this year. One to retirement. One is leaving to go to another location, and there's a possible another one going to a different department. The chief would like to move forward with interviewing and hiring new personnel. And with that being said, I'd like to turn it over to him.
Right, like Councilman Grotzky said, we unfortunately one of our newer officers is resigning and going to another department in Southern Jersey. His family life is just going that way, so it was easier for him to apply somewhere down there, and he got hired. Another officer has been rehired by his previous department, where he had been laid off in the past, and this was a lawsuit settlement. He signed the paperwork and everything. He's just waiting for the exact date. And then the third person that we're definitely losing is Captain Jones is retiring on December 31st. And I reached out to Councilman Grotzky to ask to start the hiring process and to establish a list of eligible candidates, because it is a little bit time consuming and you never know what's going to happen. I like to have an active list of eligible candidates at all times. We don't right now. And I'd like to bring the department up to 38 total officers, fully sworn officers. And that's where we'd like to go. Most recently, we had 37. Losing Officer Singh brings us down to 36, but I'm asking to bring us up to 38, which is what the ordinance says is the most we can have. I'm looking to add an officer to our traffic safety unit so we can get more coverage throughout the day. Right now, we have Lieutenant Paisano doing traffic for 8 hours a day. He does 7 to 3. He focuses on a lot of school traffic and complaints that occur with, morning rush hour and daytime things. And if we can get another officer on there, most likely a patrol officer, we can focus on some evening issues, afternoon school, and a lot of these complaints that we receive and you guys receive are like evening rush hour related or later in the day complaints. I would like to have at least 16 hours of someone dedicated to these traffic issues and complaints. And that's where I would go with the 38. But I'm open to any questions or anything if anybody wants to talk about this.
Anyone who has questions for Chief? Start it off. Councilwoman Duffy.
Good evening, Chief.
Good evening.
I have a question about some of officers that are out serving other departments, how many do we have and how long do you loan them out? And how does that affect your daily schedules?
Okay, good question. We currently have 2 officers on loan. One is loaned to the DEA right now, the Drug Enforcement Agency. He kind of is assigned to the Detective Bureau for scheduling purposes, and he works with them, and it is beneficial to our department because he brings back narcotic investigative techniques. He brings back drug money seizures that we are eligible to use for training and other specific things. He also brings back a lot of connections. We have, since he's been there, we have used the DEA in at least 3 investigations that I can think of right off the top of my head that we would not have access to the DEA if he wasn't there. And we did have good results in those.
And why is that? Why would that be?
Well, usually you would go through your county narcotics, and then to get to the DEA, if you don't have someone, a task force officer there, it needs to fit specific criteria. The fact that we have a guy there, if we call them and say, hey, we need a little assistance, they will run to us because they will run and help us if we ask for any narcotic investigation because we have someone on loan there.
But if you didn't have someone on loan and you called them for help, they would ignore your call?
They wouldn't ignore us. We would have to go through other routes through the county prosecutor's office.
And that's not.
No, they
that's
just
not
have, it's a
enough?
federal agency that has more connections, more tools, more resources. It's a very, very good connection to have in the law enforcement scene.
Okay.
So it is beneficial to us. We are reimbursed by the DEA for 95% of that officer's overtime. So it's really a wash. It doesn't cost us much, and we actually gain money through asset seizures. We do have one other officer loaned out at this time. It's Sergeant Trapani. He's loaned out to the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office, and specifically, he was placed at the Bergen County Academy for 1 year. As we know, he has a doctorate in education, and it's a specialty, that nobody else in the county really has. And they asked if they could borrow him basically on a loan for 1 year to assist at the academy with teaching and getting the Bergen County Police Academy accredited. It generates very good relations between New Milford Police and the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office when they ask for something like that, and we loan them out. We had the numbers at the time. I ran it by Mayor Petrino and Councilman Grotzky, and it has not cost us any overtime. And we did want to assist them in getting accredited. As we had learned the year before how much work getting accredited is, I was willing to help, and it helps our department, behind the scenes. His loan is up February 28th, and that was a unique loan that would not happen again. We don't have any other doctors of education here. And when I spoke to the chief of the prosecutor's office, we agreed that it's just a 1 year thing, and it hasn't cost us any overtime.
So you mentioned they pay the overtime, but we still pay his regular salary.
That's true. Both officers on loan, we pay their salary. Neither of them cost us any overtime, is what I was saying. The DEA loan, they reimburse us about $20,000 a year, and he hasn't gone over $20,000 in overtime. And Sergeant Trapani at the Police Academy does not work overtime. That was part of the deal. We do pay their salary, but it's only a 1 year thing, and it's beneficial to our department.
Okay.
If I could just make a comment, Chief, to your point, there's been several times when I've done drop off of my daughter at Berkeley School, and the crossing guards have in particular stopped me to say thank you to your guys for the work that Pisano and everybody's doing. More specifically, our crossing guards have noted that before NMPD was out there in the mornings, there were some speeders coming down the road, endangering not only the crossing guards and the kids, but even parents too during drop off. And they've been asking to see more of your guys out there, specifically in the afternoon. So Chief, I'm very happy to hear what you have to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's funny because I actually sent you a complaint 15 minutes before the council meeting that I got from Gibbs School today.
I read it, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And
It has to do with drop off at Gibbs and
yeah,
people speeding right through Sutton.
before I could reply, Lieutenant Pisano had already
Yes,
replied.
he
So
jumped
we're
in.
about, yeah, so
Yeah.
we take those complaints seriously. We do. So
Absolutely.
So, Chief,
Absolutely.
how many people are you looking to hire at this point?
So as of tomorrow, we're going to be down to 36 total, and I'm looking to bring us up to 38 and stay at 38. So we would be looking to hire 2 and just keep an established list for 2 years of eligible candidates. So when Captain Jones retires or somebody else in 2022, we just go to our list and we have eligible ranked candidates, just to save time. The background process that we do is pretty in-depth and takes a few weeks, and it's a lot of work. And by establishing a hiring list, it saves us time, and it's a best practices thing. It's something we learned through accreditation, that try and have a list, at all times if you can, until it expires, and then you make another one. But right now we do not have a list, and I'm just trying to plan for the future that I do see some upcoming retirements and, resignations, unfortunately. And that's what happens.
I agree. It's a good idea to have a list. How come there isn't one?
Everybody who was on our past eligible list has either been hired by us or someone else, and it's been over 2 years. So we would, if anyone were still on that list, we would redo a background check and everything. We would start over, because after 2 years, the smartest thing to do is do another background check.
Thank you.
So we need to give an okay to hire 2 for 2021 and then to hire 1 in January of 2022, which would keep us at the 38 and keeps your list going.
Correct.
I'd like to
So
make
what would
that
your next
motion.
step be?
I thought we were
Putting,
just hiring 2, Mayor.
No,
You
next
mentioned
year, we have a retirement.
coming up.
Yeah, December 31st.
So we're talking about hiring 2 now and then 1 in January.
2 gets us to 38. January 1st, we're down to 37. So as the chief explained, he wants to stay at 38. There would be another one in January.
And
So,
there
I
could
have
be
a question.
if the other officer leaves between now and the end of the year. There's another officer that's going back to another agency.
But we do have 2 officers coming back, don't we, from,
No, that's already accounted for. But we
You're
cannot have more than 38 at once
Right.
by ordinance. So we want to keep it at 38. So when you lose one, that's when you bring someone else on. You can't have 39 knowing someone's leaving and it turns into 38.
Right.
I question about regarding the accreditation. Do we have to maintain a certain number on the force to keep our accreditation intact?
Well, what I learned through accreditation is we had to form a organizational chart, and they suggest best practices, and we have to meet certain standards. And a lot of that is if we were not at our full capacity, I would have to explain why, and we may not pass that standard.
So it's a gray area is what you're saying?
Yes, a little bit. I mean, could we pass accreditation if we were at 37? Yeah. But as far as best practices go, I think having 38 bringing the best is the best number. I actually did a little research on why that number is what it is. I spoke to former Chief Papa Pietro on the phone today. The state police at one point in the early 2000s did a study based on populations and crime around Bergen County. And they suggested a number to each town that would be the best fit. This was kind of before accreditation was a thing. And our number was actually 39. But I realized since we've gone to 12-hour shifts and we can get more done with less, that 38 was a good number that me and Mayor Petrino agreed on when I first made chief in 2019. We lowered it to 38. And I believe that that's a good number to serve the residents in New Milford with the best police department possible.
Have we ever had a force of 38?
Yes, since I've worked here, we've been up to 39 at one point. It was in the 2000s, probably right after that state police study. But, you know, as it goes, you're always kind of chasing it with retirements and things pop up, people resign and move on. And so it's tough to stay at that number. And that's why creating a list, a hiring list of eligible candidates is very beneficial and helpful in running the department.
And I think it's especially important with all the pedestrian safety stuff and community policing. It's
Yes.
also another area that we're always talking about.
Exactly.
And when we lose people, those are the two areas that
We have to pull
get
from.
hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anything else? Anything else for the chief?
Is somebody going to make a motion?
I'll make a motion that we move up to 38 and allow the chief to go start his exploratory on hiring new officers.
I'll second that motion.
May I get a roll call, please?
Yes. Councilwoman Saraki Hurley,
Yes.
Councilman Seymour,
Yes.
Councilman Duffy,
No,
Councilman Grotzky,
Yes.
Councilman Sanusin,
yes,
Council President Grant.
Yes.
Thank you for your time, chief.
Thank you. Thanks for the support. Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. And I was going to mention later, but you probably already know that the governor has declared a state of emergency starting at 8 o'clock tonight for the impending nor'easter.
We upped our squad numbers to full. We have 6 on tonight, 6 on tomorrow, and we have the rescue vehicle. We have an operator on each squad. So I made sure of that.
How
Thank
bad,
Swift Reach is also going out right now too. That's why I
Yeah.
keep looking at my phone.
Yeah,
I keep
the
getting.
Rest 911 just went out.
how
We're on
bad,
top of it. Thank you.
how bad
Thank
is
you,
it
Chief.
expected to be?
Now they're saying like 4 to 5 inches in 36 hours. So hopefully it doesn't flood.
Absolutely. And the worst part is the 40-mile-an-hour winds that may
Yeah.
come with it. So that's
We'll be
always a
ready.
What's the
problem.
condition of the reservoir right now?
19 from what I heard earlier today.
They haven't called yet. So if they
Right.
call, I'll let everyone know.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, chief.
No
Thank
problem.
you, Chief.
Okay.
Thank
Good
you,
night. Thank you.
Moving on to number 3, which is best practices inventory.
Yes.
And everyone on my screen just moved.
Yep,
yeah,
I
how
see that.
come?
except
Okay.
Chris.
Well,
Except
That's
for
because the
yes.
chief got off.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
everyone switched. So here we go. Mess me up for a second.
Mine doesn't move. I wonder if that's because I'm like hosting. I don't know. The
you're
best
the
practice.
principal.
The best practices inventory is something that was promulgated by the state. Came out at this point, I think it's probably been going for close to 10 years. And each year they come out with a list of questions. This year, there were a total of 48 questions, which were distributed among 3 categories, which included core competencies, best practices, and unscored survey questions. So in the area of unscored survey questions, there were a lot of questions this year about response to COVID. This year, a score of 15 was required to receive 100% of the allotted state aid. The borough scored 21 points, and the results were certified by myself as the administrator and the CFO. The borough clerk certified the results, and the certification of the I'm sorry, as the borough clerk, I need to report to the mayor and council about best practices at a meeting, notifying you that the results were certified by the CFO and the administrator, and that we would be discussing it at our public meeting. And if anybody has any questions, I'd be happy to respond.
Do we get an extra point for you actually fulfilling what you're supposed to do?
That's what it seems like.
So what's the most amount of points somebody, municipality can get? Is it 48? Is it 1 point per question?
No, I think I have it here. I thought I had the amount.
It's never 1 point per question because some questions don't apply to every
Yeah,
municipality.
no, some of them are half points.
Mhm.
It's in the 20s. I think it might have been 25 this year, 24, 25, and we scored 21. So if you're interested in the things that we didn't score on, I can share that with you. It's the same questions every year. The way we pay our risk manager, they don't want you to pay it as a % of the insurance premium, but that's the way that we pay it through the contract that we have. Let's see. No. Yes. A lot of yeses. Have public electric vehicle charging stations been installed, or are they currently being installed on municipal property? So we answered no, but hopefully next year we might be answering
Working
yes.
on that one.
So we'll get our points up.
I see
That's
22 in our future.
Yes. Yeah, actually, I don't really see. Oh, and for whatever reason, there's one question that comes up every year and has to do with our audit, and if you have any repeat comments. And the one comment that we always have is about that there are excess tickets that are assigned over 180 days and that are eligible for a warrant. And unfortunately, there's really nothing that we can do about it from the court's perspective, and it just continues to come up as a repeat comment. The good news is that was our only repeat comment in our audit this year.
Well done.
Yeah. Good job, everyone.
And that's it for best practices.
Okay, moving on to number 4 is schedule updates. So on this Wednesday, the 27th at 6:30 p.m., we have the Domestic Violence Symposium. It's the 3rd annual being held in New Milford. And I'll let Councilman Seymour real quick tell us about it.
Mayor, you pretty much summarized it perfectly. The symposium is Wednesday night. We're going to start the live stream at 6:30, and the link to the live stream will be on the New Milford Borough website. And it has not yet been uploaded, but it will be before Wednesday.
Excellent. Tuesday, November 2nd is Election Day. Polls are open in New Milford from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. We encourage all to exercise their right to vote. Thursday,
Mayor, may I add that the polls are now open early, and so they're open every day during the week from, I believe, 10 to 6 10 to 8, and then on the weekends or Sunday, it's 10 to 6.
I have that as part of my report, yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just didn't want people to think that you could only vote on Election Day, because this year is different.
Yes.
More opportunities to vote.
Thursday, November 11th at 11 a.m. is our annual Veterans Day ceremony at the Borough Hall lawn. And we are planning for our tree lighting / Winter Wonderland event to be held on Sunday, December 5th. I don't have an exact time for that yet. The committee is still working on that. I believe it's going to be around 6 o'clock, but we are going to finalize that, and I should have a final report on that by our next meeting. Was there any other events upcoming that I failed to mention? Because the past events we had this weekend were phenomenal. The pumpkin patch was fantastic. The shade tree dedication was pretty cool. But if anyone wants to mention that later, they can. Let's move on to the administrator's report.
Thank you, Mayor. Yes, first on my list was that early voting began this past Saturday, October 23rd, and continues through next Sunday, October 31st. Polls are open Monday through Saturday from 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And the early voting locations are posted on the borough website. There are 9 early voting locations in Bergen County, and it doesn't matter where you live, you can go to any of the 9 locations. Just so I was prepared to answer any questions, I charted out myself this past Saturday, and it was interesting to see some new technology in action. And also one of our poll workers I ran into when I went to do early voting, and Diane, our deputy, charted at another location and found another poll worker. So we're hopeful that we'll have experienced people on our team on November 2nd, which is election day. On election day, you can only vote in New Milford if you're a New Milford resident, and you have to go to your regular polling location, and polls are open from 6 a.m. to 8 p.m. The engineering report, which I distributed to the council earlier today, Knights Field, which is for our new athletic field and recreational space, the water line and electric service installation are both complete. They're testing the irrigation system in advance of installation of the sod. We've put in an order for the 24 by 36 pavilion, which has a 7-month lead time. We're anticipating completion without the pavilion. The remainder of the field should be finished April 2022. We are looking to have the sod installation done before the winter. And the change in the date is due to contractor delays. We had a meeting with them on site this past Thursday. It was a very productive meeting, and a lot has taken place since then. Madison Avenue sidewalk, the new curb and sidewalk along portions of the east and west side of Madison Avenue. The DEP permitting has been submitted, and it is pending review and acceptance. We are hoping to go out to bid next month, November 2021. The DOT culvert project is for repairs of various drainage pipe connections to existing culverts and abutments at Floral Court and the Boulevard, and to line the existing culvert pipe at Steuben Avenue. The design is in progress, and we're anticipating a start of February 2022. The DOT road project for the Boulevard was for roadway milling and paving, and the paving was completed on October 11th. The Kennedy Field bench covers for the installed roof structures over the existing team benches at 3 fields for 6 covers total. We received bids this past Thursday, October 21st, and I received a recommendation from the engineer today, which I forwarded to the attorney for his review, and anticipate having a resolution to award the work on at our November 8th meeting. Boulevard and Graphic Boulevard, we did a traffic study of the intersection, which was completed on September 27th. We received the report on October 15th, and we've scheduled a meeting with the engineer and the grants consultant to discuss the project scope and grant opportunities. Graphic Boulevard road improvements, we've submitted an application and we are awaiting a response from the DOT. That's for milling and paving on Graphic Boulevard. And the Prospect Park ADA accessibility, the county is going to be funding a smaller portion than we originally anticipated, and we are going to have to revise the funding ordinance in order to reflect that change. That's it for the engineer's report. Regarding senior transportation, we will begin offering ShopRite transportation on Thursdays beginning November 18th. And we're going to also offer, in addition, the 18th is the first time that we're doing it. It will continue on all Thursdays following, but since Thanksgiving is the following Thursday, we are going to run the ShopRite transportation the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. Our next meeting is Monday, November 8th, and it will be held virtually. And the only other thing I had on my report, Mayor, was we had circulated earlier in the day a resolution to the mayor and council regarding the Darren Drake Act, which was passed in the House of Representatives. And we are, the purpose of the resolution would be to request the Senate to pass similar legislation and support it. And I wanted to ask if anybody wanted to make a motion to add that to tonight's agenda.
I'd be happy to make a motion to add that to the agenda.
I'd like to
Second.
second that.
Okay, it would be added as 2021-241. Was that all in favor?
All in favor?
Yes,
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Thank you.
Okay.
Is there anything else? The Boulevard repaving looks fantastic, by the way. I take it every day. It looks good, and it's so quiet on the street.
Yeah.
So it's
Feels
wonderful.
great on the
Yeah.
corner part.
Nice.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
All right, after adding the resolution, is there any other questions on the resolutions? Anything else that we need to pull out for more discussion or a separate vote?
Oh, I think we had a conversation in closed and there was a request to add a motion.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Can I get a
Oh.
motion? Can I get a motion to add 2021:240, which is Senior Director Lynn Sullivan salary increase?
I'd like to make that motion.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Okay, so 240 is the Senior Director, 241 is Darren Drake. Now, are there any resolutions that need to be pulled for further discussion?
I'm trying to find them. Where are they? Here we go. Bear with me, please. No, I'm good.
All right, before we open to the public, let's go around the squares real quick and give us a, actually, I need a motion to file council committee reports with the Borough Clerk.
So moved.
Motion.
Second,
All in favor?
aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, Magic Squares time. Councilman Grotzky, you're up first.
Thank you, Mayor. Last Saturday, the Shade Tree Commission met down on Cedar Road and dedicated 2 trees that are well over 250 years old as heritage trees. It was a nice little event, and so far, those are the only trees that have been identified in the borough that have qualified as heritage trees. And during the summer, we did lose one of our heritage trees because, hey, it happens, unfortunately, but that's how things go. Thank you.
I thought the interesting part of that was talking to our arborist. From his education, they found there's a newer formula. So he was telling me that the original tree on Summit is actually older than we actually estimated it to be. They're using a new type of formula, so it's
Wow.
pretty amazing. So that
Wow.
other tree could be closer to 300 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Amazing, amazing. Councilwoman Siraki Hurley.
Thank you, Mayor. As the mayor had reported earlier with our, with events, we have the November 11th Veterans Memorial, which will be in the morning. We're working on our Christmas lighting and Christmas event, which will be reporting. With historic, we had last week, I think I told them 2 weeks ago, that we had a individual coming into the cemetery to take a look at the names on the tombstones, and that hopefully she was going to be able to maybe get a little bit of history as to who's buried there. She already has been to the cemetery, and we just haven't heard from her yet. She was there last week, so that will take a little time, but it would be great. I think it would be great anyway, to get a little history of what our the residents that are at the cemetery, who they were. And as far as our oral history project, that's going well. I know that, I think it was last week, maybe the week before, that we were at the, some of them were at the fire department giving some oral reports. So again, I put it out there, come forward. come forward. Oh my gosh. So if anyone wants to talk about New Milford in years ago, I mean, we can come to you, record it, however you would feel comfortable, most comfortable about, any history that you can find out. It would be great. And that's it, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Seymour.
Thank you, Mayor. The New Milford Municipal Alliance met this week and they have finalized details for this year's ADAM event. ADAM, of course, is an acronym for Alcohol and Drug Awareness Memorial in memory of New Milford resident Adam Roth, who tragically lost his life to a drunk driver in 1994. This year's memorial will be on November 21st with a rain date of November 28th. And it once again will be at Hardcastle Pond. So we're hoping for as much turnout as possible. And I'm sure once again, it will be a tremendous event as it has been the past couple of years.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council President Grant.
Thank you. I just want to reiterate what you said earlier about Mary Mullins. She was known as Mary Maureen Mullins. Some people called her Sister Mary or Sister Mary Maureen. She was active in New Milford for decades. She was a volunteer at the library. She was the president of the library board of Library Friends of the Library for more than a decade, and also served on the senior advisory board. She was beloved by everybody. She was a happy, charming, lively presence and very energetic. And she will just really, her passing really leaves a huge hole in New Milford and in our hearts, certainly mine. So I just needed to say that about Mary.
I'll add that I will miss her on election day, as she was one of our
She worked at the
poll
polls, that's true.
workers at the middle school.
Their visitation will be at Boulevard Funeral Home tomorrow, Wednesday from 2 to 4 and from 7 to 9, if anybody's interested.
She will be missed. She was wonderful.
Definitely. Thank you. Councilwoman Duffy.
I have a short report. The corn stalks are up thanks to SIL and the DPW assisted the beautification committee in the purchase at a lower price of the corn stalks and the installation. And the beautification committee was assisted by the New Milford Senior Center in installing the ribbons on Main Street. So that was a pretty nice coordination of departments right there. So happy fall, everyone. That's my report.
They look fabulous, Randy. Thank you.
So
Sure.
my story for that is, I did a wedding last week, and when I had the couple there, they said, "Did you decorate the gazebo for us with the corn stalks?" I said,
Yeah.
"Sure."
Yeah, we did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Randy did it.
Well, we all did it together. Yeah.
Councilwoman Sandhusen.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a couple of things to share today. And following the cornstalk, I just want to dovetail on that. The gazebo looked amazing and was the perfect backdrop for the pumpkin patch this weekend. It was just absolutely lovely to see all the families there, and the recreation department did a really great job. I was going to say a smash up job, but we don't want to talk about smashing pumpkins. So, but there was really a lovely time that they created out for the families that day, and the beautification committee added to that very nicely. So thanks for that. And moving on to beautification, the Clean Communities Day happened Saturday, October 16th. And that was also a great success. 30 volunteers came out, including a group of Girl Scouts. There were the Environmental Club from the New Milford High School joined. There were families, and the cleanup focused on areas near the Hackensack River, including the New Milford Woods Loop Trail. The area between Columbia Avenue and Henley Ave. The Girl Scouts collected some extremely unique items, including a hot water heater and a mailbox. I'm going to do a little call out on the entire Environmental Commission worked really hard with coordinating with the Clean Communities Coordinator. So I just want to put their names out, Vince Cahill as the Clean Communities Coordinator and Lynn Torpy as the Chairwoman of the Environmental Commission, organized a really great event, and the daily event was managed by JD, who was added to the conviviality. So it was a really great partnership with the DPW, the Environmental Commission, and our volunteers. So everyone had a really great day. Hot dogs were provided by ShopRite and grilled by special guest Peter Torpy. So everyone had a really great time. And then I'm going to move on to the green team. Big event, the big announcement this week that the New Milford Borough has been awarded Sustainable Jersey Bronze certification. So
Very nice.
Congratulations, Borough and volunteers.
Congratulations.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, this is due to the great and continued diligence and attention to detail by our persistent and intrepid volunteers. It's a lot of time, and these are all volunteer hours by Chairman Michael Sermabekian and Treasurer Anita Pinto, and along with the other Green Team members. And this is, I just want to take a moment to explain why this is such an important certification for the borough. For those who may not know what it's about, is that this certification is really a recognition for the borough on best practices. So, and it covers a range of actions, including energy efficiency, arts in the community, animals, recycling, and more. So if anybody's interested in learning more about how all those actions affect, it's really all encompassing to municipal quality of life. Sustainablejersey.org is the website. And I just want to add another feather in the cap for New Milford, is that New Milford is one of the first in our area to work on energy efficiency. So this is a priority action, and we're one of the first municipalities in our area to really focus on creating that energy tracking and data gathering. And this will really set us up. It sets up a great foundation and creates momentum for future education and initiatives. So I want to thank everyone who participated in that and acknowledge them. And then finally, I'm just going to add that because it's pertinent to the weather event that we're seeing today, is that I attended the Mel GIF in-person meeting, and one of the things I wanted to share with you all tonight is that because of there was a lot of discussion about Hurricane Ida and all of the claims that were being made across the state. They're estimating that storm is costing the state nearly 17 million in damages. There were many vehicles, many claims for municipal vehicles that had been lost, reason due to flooding. And I'm happy to report here that New Milford was not on that list. So not one single municipal vehicle was lost to flooding because of, and I'm just really want to say thank you to our municipality for that management of, and just wanted to give that shout out and acknowledgement on public record.
Cool.
Thank you, Mayor. That's my report.
Thank you. I have a couple of reflections on your report. the last thing you mentioned is because we do have responsible volunteers and professionals here. That's why they do take care of their equipment. So that is wonderful for us. We totally appreciate that. Girl Scouts. I thought I've seen everything in this world until I saw them rolling the hot water heater out of the woods. But you also failed to mention that they also dragged a 10-foot basketball net on its base out of the woods as well. So
Well, I
they are
wasn't
just-
going to deny you the
they're just
opportunity to
totally
share that
amazing.
one.
Absolutely, totally amazing. And the other thing you mentioned was we were one of the first to study energy, right? Efficiency.
Hmm.
And you could see a theme with our town. First for Roots to Rivers, first for this, first to have a domestic violence symposium. We are on the forefront of things and we're doing good things. And I think it's just a credit to New Milford that people are looking at us and saying, hey, look what they're doing in that little town over there. We should be more like them. We should take their ideas and hopefully the good things we do just grow throughout the county and the state. So I want to thank everyone for that because I think that's great and it makes, New Milford what it is. So my report.
Can I just say one thing about
Go
the
ahead.
report?
I'm sorry.
I would just like to offer as well, congratulations to the green team and to make note of the fact that this is actually the third iteration of a green team. And this is the first very successful iteration. And I'd like to commend Councilwoman Sanyusin on her perseverance because when I heard we were putting the band back together, I had my doubts, but you did a great job.
Thank you very much. So
Absolutely.
it really was a team
Nice.
effort and I really appreciate all the support. So thank you.
Congratulations, Councilwoman.
Thank you.
Way to go.
Okay.
Well
So I will close with, as a mayor, I'm a member of the Northern Valley Mayors Association. And they recently had sent some information to the group and one of them affects us. I'm letting everyone know this is on our website. There is an opportunity for public comments at a virtual public hearing that has to do with Suez. This will take place on November 4th from 3 to 4 p.m. You can find all the links on our website to log on. Another company, Veolia Environment, is going to acquire a majority of the assets of Suez, and basically Suez is being sold to another company.
What's
So a
the name
different
again?
company,
Interesting.
Veolia Environment
Veolia.
SA Society of North America. I believe that is the official name of the company that will take the assets of Suez.
Interesting.
So there is a
Suez
public
was
hearing.
French. Is this company another foreign company?
It sounds French.
They are also from French. They're also from France. But the subsidiary Veolia North America will be taking the assets. If you want to know more about it, November 4th, 3 to 4 p.m. And with Suez, I do have a meeting. I believe it's going to be November 9th. They are inviting mayors and one guest to talk about their operations and water management. So I will be attending that once I have more details on the date and the time. As I mentioned when our chief was here, Governor Murphy has declared a state of emergency that started 2 minutes ago for the impending storm. And our Swift 911 actually did go out probably about 15 or 20 minutes ago. I saw it on my phone as we were having our meeting. Anyone who does not get the alerts, go to our website and please sign up for our Swift Reach. There's an icon on the website. You can pick if you want emails, text, or phone calls, or all of them. So please, it's a great thing to have. You never know when something's going to happen, and this way you get the notification. And that's all that I have. Is there anything else before I open to the public? Okay, at this time, I would ask for a motion to open to the public.
Motion to open to the public.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, ladies and gentlemen of the public, now is your opportunity to talk about anything related to the Borough of New Milford. All we ask is for your name and your address, and we'll give you 5 minutes on the floor.
No one has indicated that they wish to speak, Mayor.
And I
Motion
would
to
ask for a
close to
motion
the
to close to
public.
the public.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Great. I would ask for a motion to pass resolutions 2021:233 through 2021:241.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Is there any other business before this council? If not, I want to just say, everyone, be safe. Make sure you make preparations for the storm. And don't forget to vote. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a good evening.
Thank
night.
you, Mayor.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
We need a motion to adjourn.
I need a
Oh.
motion to adjourn.
So moved.
May I get a
Second.
Sorry,
second?
I missed that.
May I get a second?
Second.
It was the
All in favor?
storm.
Second.
It was,
Storm threw everybody off.
Storm threw everyone off.
yeah.
All in
I vote
favor?
yes.
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
That's it. Over and out.
Meeting
Good night.
officially adjourned.
Night.
Thank
Bye,
you, everyone.
guys.
Good night. Stay
Thank you,
safe.
everyone.
Night.
Good night.
Thank you.